This is Transqat, a safe space to stand. Transgender issues, queer people, respectful conversations. I'm host Claire McCarthy. Welcome to Transqat. This episode of Transqat is available in video format on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/@transcat9607 or just search for Transqat channel. That's TRANSQAT. Today's episode is Friends and Films. I'm talking with Wendy Peek and Shane Engstrom from OutFilm, Connecticut. Our annual film festival runs June 12th through the 20th. And in today's conversation, we take a look at the trans and non-binary offerings in this, our 39th LGBTQ Film Festival. First, though, this past week, Congressman Barney Frank died of congestive heart failure at 86 in Ogunquit, Maine. You know the highlights of his career: 32 years in Congress, author of the Dodd-Frank Act, reforming Wall Street, a decades-long fight for ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, a career of fighting for affordable housing and other progressive causes, the first gay member of Congress to voluntarily come out, first member of Congress in a same-sex marriage. A lot is written about his razor-sharp wit and his inability to suffer fools. When he left Congress, he reportedly said, "I don't even have to pretend to try to be nice to people I don't like." And thus, it is one of the greatest honors of my life that he was nice to me when he appeared on this show to discuss his life and career. I'll re-release this conversation later this week so you can revisit it. Barney Frank was controversial. He was brash. He made mistakes, which, in general, he owned up to. To me, that separates him from the buffoons currently in the seats of power. Congressman Barney Frank, March 31st, 1940 to May 19th, 2026. Requiescat in pace. And thank you for suffering this fool. So this was last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Lips.
Very popular.
Yes. 35 with the film reel.
Classy.
The neighborhood.
The COVID neighborhood.
The COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
right.
We're still neighbors. We're still here. So we got the 30th.
We do love a film strip with sprockets, don't we?
We do, apparently. And then the one that I never quite figured out, the multicolored zebra.
With the zipper. Yeah.
Well, we went with that little tagline, "Show us your stripes."
Okay. All right. So anyway, that's my history with OutFilm.
That's impressive. I started in the lips year.
I don't think I have all the posters from all the years I've been involved.
And this is, Shane, this is what year?
For me, it's my 26th year.
And for the festival overall, this is 39, right?
Yeah, 39.
Shane, why don't you go first? Head honcho.
I'm Shane Engstrom. I'm the director of the festival, the president of OutFilm Connecticut, which is the organization that organizes the festival and other film events throughout the year.
And I'm Wendy Peek, and I am the vice president of the organization. And I also do social media, as well as trying to put mortar in the gaps between various jobs that other people have.
Yes.
I know that sounds a little like I've overstated what I do, but I do try to keep things running smoothly. But apparently, as last night showed at Bingo Mania, things run better often when I leave. As soon as I left, Shane won the big bingo pot.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. The last round. The one where you fill up your whole card. Thanks for leaving, Wendy.
yes, happy to leave anytime.
And I, just for those folks listening, I'm Claire, and I'm part of the screening committee. So watch several films over the course of the year, and then I also do the virtual and in-person Q&A sessions with filmmakers during the festival itself.
I'm much appreciative for that, because you are much more skilled at this than I ever was, and Wendy did a great job on a few. right?
Yeah, I can barely touch Claire's ability. And also, can I just take a minute here to say thank you so much for having us on Transcat. As you know, I love this show. I listen to it, and it has just enriched my understanding of so many of these issues. So thank you for that.
The let's get the nuts and bolts out of the way quickly. Tell us when the festival is, where, how to get tickets, all that boring stuff.
Yeah, so the festival is going to be held in Hartford, Connecticut. June 12th through 20th is the in-person bit. Most evenings we will be at the Cine Studio Theater, which is on the Trinity College campus, which I always like to say has ample free parking, which is great. Our final night of the festival, when we'll have our closing night party, is going to be at the Connecticut Science Center, which is downtown Hartford. And then after the 20th, we start our virtual encore screening. So a number of the films will screen and the shorts programs from June 21st through 28th. So it's really much longer than we've had in the past. So you can come to in-theater events, and if you haven't had enough and you want to see more, there's a whole other week of, virtual streaming films.
Yeah, and the virtual programs aren't just the ones that were in the theater as well. There's a lot of original content there as well. So new films that are virtual exclusive.
Yes, and you can get passes and tickets at outfilmct.org. The film that Shane has arranged the page pretty easily. It's very easy to navigate. And if you are a spontaneous person, you can also buy tickets at the door when you show up at Cine Studio.
We will not turn you away.
And the website and the website is live, so you can go there now at outfilmct.org to check out all of the programs. Every film that we're showing is there. The schedule, the brochure, you can see it online if you haven't received it at home already.
I haven't,
And
by
I would
the way. Where's my brochure?
Well, they're hot off the press. They came out yesterday.
And I would add too that the website is set up in such a way that if you're interested in a particular kind of film, maybe you want something that's youth oriented, or you like romance or drama, you can click on, there'll be all these suggested keywords, and you can click on them and it'll show you all the films that especially appeal to you.
That hit that hashtag, if you will.
Yeah.
Before I became involved with the behind the scenes, I was a fan, I was a customer, and yeah, there just isn't time enough or money enough for me to be there every night. So the ability to go to the website and say, okay, just show me all the trans and non-binary things, and I'll pick from there. I love that.
Yeah, it's super easy. And the other thing is too, you'll pick the things you want to see, and then you have a little more time and you'll do a little browsing as well and find some new things too.
So we could certainly spend the entire hour, and we have in the past, talking about all the features, all the offerings of our festival. But this is a show about trans folks and trans issues. And let's be honest, it's a tough time to be trans. We are walking around with targets on our backs. The far right is making a great deal of money by demonizing and vilifying us. And so I thought maybe this might be a great opportunity to focus on not just the what in terms of the festival's offerings, but the why. Why is it important to have a strong trans and non-binary presence with our festival?
Well, I think it's exactly for the reasons that you articulated. This seems like an increasingly perilous time. And so I think pushback, resistance, showing up for friends, the people we love, the people we are, is especially important now more than ever. So that's why we were really delighted to be able to put the trans and non-binary shorts program as an in-theater event, and a place where people are going to feel welcome and find community watching these films together.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the inspiration for our poster design this year, is really like coming together, the hands held together, kind of embracing as a community and supporting each other in our collective struggle, but particularly the trans community.
Yeah, if you watch as we have the gay and the bi and the lesbian offerings, there's stories of struggle, there are stories of triumph, there are all sorts of interesting things, uh, but it's different right now. It's the intensity on that one very, very small facet of our community is much more intense. And I think that's the smallness is part of it. I think the decision was made that we were such a small fraction of the community that people wouldn't step up for us, that politicians would not risk political capital to stand up for trans rights. And so far, they've been right on about that. So yeah, a safe place to be out with friends, to be out in public, but to be in a safe space, in a safe community, that's incredibly valuable at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic playbook that I taught my students about, years before this current administration came into office, which is this is exactly the way this kind of power works, which is nibbling away at the edges of small communities that they don't think anyone's going to care about or stand up for. And I'm very happy that we're working to prove them wrong.
I know I'm part of the committee. I know I'm part of the group, but I also sort of on the outside and very, very grateful for everything because there are a lot of cool offerings this year. And I wanted us to spend some time maybe in a round robin sort of way or however you like, but I want to talk about some of them. Wendy, one of the things you were saying that the in-person stuff happens at Trinity. And one of our features this year is set at Trinity, but the real one.
Right.
Not the one in Hartford, the one in Dublin. Girls and boys, and
Yeah.
I will be speaking with the director in the next week or so. So look for that with the Q&As. But could we talk a little bit about girls and boys?
Yes, well, I was really delighted that this one made it onto the schedule also because I first heard about it from friends of mine in Ireland. I have a friend who lives in a very small town in Ireland, and they don't have a movie theater, but the town brings in one movie a month, and they brought in Girls and Boys as their
Really?
one movie for the month. And she said she loved it, and everybody in the theater loved it. And then when we got it, I said, let's really try to get this one on. So I think it's a film that I just was entertained every minute of it. There's a lot of conversation in it, but I wanted to meet these people. I wanted to know these people.
Yeah.
It felt very loving and beautiful. Yeah.
The two leads are just amazing performances.
Yes.
I enjoyed that, but it takes the tropes of the rom-com and really grounds them in authentic queer experience. One of the
Yes.
characters is a trans woman. One presents as a straight cis man who might or might not be working with some issues inside of him. But it takes those and instead of just sort of playing that off for laughs the way what was that film, the romantic,
What a feeling.
the
No?
royal one, red, white, and
Oh, red, white, and royal blue. Yeah.
red, white, and royal blue, where it's sort of played for laughs and it's that same sort of broad rom-com feeling. This, to me, really touched on a number of real, authentic problems that would happen if you were translated into that realm of rom-com.
I mean, I think that is generally what is happening with the LGBTQ plus films that we've been showing the last couple of years, is they're moving into different genres and transforming them in important ways, not utterly changing them, but saying, let's realistically think about being a queer person in this genre space. And this makes it a really exciting time for queer cinema, to my mind.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're definitely seeing more like it's not all about the either gay, lesbian, trans relationships all the time. It's not always about, you know, someone's discovering themselves and whatnot, but it's like now we have horror films, or now we have just we'll talk about another one's coming up, Eva, which is like
Mm.
so
Oh,
beautiful. And it's just like it's about a trans woman who's like um trying to take care of her family and her new granddaughter. And it's just, you know, it's such a beautiful film. But
yeah.
I'll get to that later.
But Shane, what you're saying, it's true that we still need, and I think we'll always need, coming of age stories, coming out stories, because generation after generation of queer folks need that. They
Yeah.
need those as guideposts, and they need to be updated, because something that would have helped me back in the 70s probably isn't going to appeal to anybody today. But for me, what I'm looking for is exactly what the three of us were describing. I want a film like Ava that's just about the hard work that's needed to keep a family together, where one of the characters happens to be trans, and certainly they are informed by that experience and that identity, but it's really not a story about being trans per se. It's about family.
Right.
Exactly. I think earlier films you were talking about, coming out stories, moving into the community are often about leaving the traditional family and then coming into the chosen family. And what I've noticed is we're now seeing both the chosen family and the biological family being part of these webs of the life of these characters. And so the material for stories is expanding and getting richer because of that, becoming more inclusive, basically, more inclusive of the traditional family and also how they respond to a queer person in their family.
I think that was, for the longest time, that was the narrative that we saw, was that you either had a family that was supportive, or you went out and found chosen family. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Much more realistic these days is that there are mixtures of both. It's not quite as mutually exclusive.
And I think this is a kind of very organic change that's happening and an exciting change that's happening. And as you say, speaks to the updating of the coming out story.
Wendy, at one point I had fallen behind in my viewing a little bit, and you emailed me and said, okay, we need to make a decision between two films, Ava, and I'm forgetting the title of the other one. So I sat down and watched them both, and I was, oh, I'm Team Ava all the way. I
Yes, and
love this
I
film.
didn't want to betray my hand because I was also Team Ava at that point. I was just being very objective and neutral in my language. Just two films, whatever, just decide. And then you said Ava, and I was like, yes, Claire's my girl.
So it's about keeping this family together. What else can we say about it without spoiling it?
I think it's also really a picture of a neighborhood and a community. It's from Honduras, and I felt like I got a sense of how that community worked. I love the colors of the film as well. I just felt like there was a kind of a richness to the color that gave a real texture to their lived lives. And I was fully engrossed in that film from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I loved how the storytelling was so good. They didn't really they didn't have to start off with here's what happened in my past and to make me the way I am today. It was just you saw the richness of their lives and you pieced together things that must have happened in their past, to bring them to where they are today as a family. And it was just, the acting was incredible. The script was incredible. The story was fantastic.
When I used to teach film, I would often say to my students, a, a great film often has one stellar scene, one scene that you will just remember as you walk out of the theater and you'll remember for years afterwards. I think in the film Sideways, if anyone remembers that great pain film. It's the speech about Pinot Noir. And you just walk out and you're like, yes. And also, no Merlot.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing I took away was I will never drink Merlot.
Yes. But the thing about Ava was it has several of those scenes that are just breathtaking. And I just felt like the hits keep coming. And each was more memorable than the last. It's really impressive.
One of the things that I liked about it, and this is an easy off-road for queer films to take, is that Ava did not succumb to making the straight men, look like villains, like one-dimensional villains. Ava's son is grieving and is wrestling with the responsibilities of taking care of himself and taking care of his child. I'm forgetting the character's name, but the one who's romantically involved with Ava. They were nuanced and they were rich and they were credible.
Yeah. And again, I think that's the kind of moving to more complex storytelling, right? We don't need to have two-dimensional stereotype characters as villains. Life itself is enough of a villain.
Yeah. There you go.
4 arrows. 4 chances to do something miraculous. But choose carefully. The price is steep and the road gets dark. 4 Arrows, a new novel from Claire McCarthy. Chapter 1 in the Heart of the Fire series. Magical realism meets queer history. Available for pre-order now at Amazon.
All right, so we've got Ava, we've got Girls and Boys. What else?
We have the documentary We Are Pat, which is all about the evolution of the Saturday Night Live skit about, It's Pat. And I think it was really well done in that it was that whole story and subject was taken up by the trans and non-binary community. And there was like a lot of discussion about it and how it was perceived at the time, how that concept has evolved over time. And they really took it for themselves and adapted it and redid it from the perspective of the trans and non-binary community. So and they also brought back Sweeney, who did the original It's Pat.
A lot of people say, what's that? It's Pat. A lot of people ask, who's he or she? A ma'am or a sir, accept him or her, for whatever it might be. It's time for androgyny. Here comes Pat.
And had a wonderful discussion with her about it as well.
I loved that they were able to incorporate Julia Sweeney into that. Yeah, it gave it so much more authenticity.
And her openness to reevaluating the legacy of Pat, I think really makes the film, just gives it a lot of heart as well. What I liked about We Are Pat is also what I liked about another documentary showing It's Dorothy, which is about kind of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. But they take something you think you know, and almost like a crystal ball or a prism, they hold it up and look at it from different perspectives, which cast different colors onto this thing. So it's kind of defamiliarizing something you think you really are familiar with. And I was laughing sometimes and thinking sometimes, and that's my favorite combination, laughing and thinking.
Well, at the time, I found It's Pat offensive. Well, I certainly wasn't aware of non-binary as a concept at the time, and I saw gender as very binary. And even though I was assigned this gender and I knew this was the right one, that blending of it and mining it for what seemed at the time like cheap laughs, I just never was comfortable with. So I loved this documentary for exactly the reason, Wendy, that you were describing. It gave me a chance to go back and look at something that I didn't really appreciate the first time, but to look at it with new eyes and go, oh, okay, yeah, this does have value.
Yeah, the early 90s were a rough period for Saturday Night Live, I think. This is kind of a redemptive movie, of a redemptive gesture towards that time.
Who knew something that old wouldn't survive?
And
I didn't realize it was a thing. I didn't realize that Pat had sort of been embraced by the non-binary community, and that this was that there were Pat conventions. And
when I saw the title and description, I was kind of like, oh, I think this is going to be like a one-trick pony. Like, it's got one thing to say. And that was the pleasant surprise of the film. It's just like page after page of new perspectives. So it's great. It's a great film.
I have a few more, but let me be a better host and invite you to toss out some films.
Well, Shane, do you want to talk about the trans and non-binary shorts program?
So we pulled together a bunch of trans and non-binary shorts from around the world, and we are really happy that we had shown them in person years ago, and then we have struggled with so many attendance, people trying to bring as many people to Cine Studio as possible, and so we tried alternating with showing feature films in theater instead of the shorts and whatever, but there's always been this, we want the trans shorts back. So this year we were like really happy that we were able to do that. And what we have assembled is a really cool list of films that cover a lot of different areas, a lot of different topics. So I actually have to look at the list to remind myself which ones are in that program.
Well, I'm delighted.
I do have a favorite. Yeah. So let me hear from the two of you, and then we'll see because I do, of the short program, I do have one that I just adore.
Well, I was going to say, I like that there are two, not one, but two sports themed films in this.
So we've got No Contest.
Yes. And No Contest is one of my favorites. That judo film, I like that. I thought it was well done. I thought it captured the intensity of the moment and the competition and the clash between characters in it. It was great. So I think No Contest is No Contest for me. Sorry.
And one for the team is the other sports one.
Yes.
Which is lacrosse / rugby something. Yep. I'm not a sports person.
Yes, the lacrosse rugby combination, well known.
It was one of those sports with a ball. I don't know if that.
Yeah, that one was really really well done. I think one of my favorites was a comedy, which was a film called Nipple, or Heth.
Yeah.
And that was just it was comical because it's a very supportive family, and their child has recently gone through surgery for top surgery, and it was like the father is doing his best to be supportive, and it's like hijinks ensues, and it's so funny to see him trying to be supportive and like stumbling all over himself to do it.
That's one of the ones though, and it works in this film because the tone is so over the top and humorous, but the caricature of the vicar in that, who is this muscle building super macho guy who's boxing in the front of his church and responds to something about why he's doing this. It's just because he wants to beat the shit out of sin. Okay, all right, I know where you're coming from. Of the shorts program, my favorite is one called Only Dead Fish Go with the Flow.
Yes.
Which is really nice and short. It's compact. There's an incident in an elementary school, just a playground, possibly bullying type of thing. And so you've got two kids with the principal and their parents, and there is a cis boy and there's a trans girl, and they managed to touch on at least 6 or 8 valid points that are part of the ongoing public conversation about trans kids. And then it all just comes down to, why is it that the adults are so worked up about this thing that the kids are perfectly fine with it? You know, that when you find that you're in this parent conference, you expect a sort of traditional, you know, staunch on one side and liberal on the other. And it's not that at all. The kids are just like, they don't have any connection to all of that rhetoric. And I dearly loved that film.
And a little child shall lead them.
And I love the parents in that. I mean, they are just amazing parents, just like fighting back for their kid and calling the principal onto the carpet.
The principal is not intentionally, not intrinsically funny. I mean, that the principal is awful in that she's just going to hold this line that, you know, she's just getting from a couple of vocal parents, right? That the parents, she knows if she's lenient on this trans kid, parents are going to come down on her. So she's holding this ridiculously strict line about what's going to be acceptable and what's not. And it's a great dramatic irony scene in that she's hysterical, but she doesn't know she's hysterical.
Yeah.
It's just so awful. Another one that I wanted to make sure we talked about, and I don't know if we're considering this a short or not. It's pretty darn long for a short. It's just over an hour, but it's called Tomorrow's Too Late.
Yeah.
I would not consider that a short. That's
Okay.
It's a documentary about a singer. They're actually a performer in the UK.
Yeah, they were on X Factor and apparently had
X
a degree of success.
After, all that happened, they make their lives as a performer, and then he decided that he needed to transition to be himself, and he did that knowing that the one most important thing in his life was singing, but that his voice would be affected by it, obviously, and he didn't know if his singing career and his life would change irreparably because of that. And it's such a courageous story, and he does such a great job of documenting the journey all along the way. And I mean, you have to see the film, but I mean, in the end, you're just like,
Tears will be shed.
What an incredible story.
Yeah, I rewatched it in the past week, preparing for this conversation, and I cried a second time.
I mean, we definitely have some of the best filmmaking we have in this year's festival is clearly the trans and non-binary stories. It just, I'm always amazed.
Yeah. Tomorrow's Too Late, for me, it goes back to the things we've been talking about, in that it does focus on Dylan Holloway's coming out, and it covers top surgery and hormone replacement therapy, but it's much more about, Shane, as you were describing, an artist who might be losing the connection to his instrument, and it's so much more than just livelihood. It's this core aspect of who he is, and he might be losing this in order to be authentic. So there's that. But it's also the solution is really creative.
I found it such an interesting story because we talk a lot about certain kinds of bodily transformations that happen when people transition. And there has been talk about voice and pitch, but I never actually thought about, as you said, the voice as an instrument and how that instrument will change. And, especially as you were saying, Shane, tied in with this person's livelihood. And it's a tearjerker, and it's powerful and it's inspiring. So I think that is definitely one to see on the streaming program.
Yeah, we actually had a very similar feature film that was submitted this year that we watched, and it was a good film. But when we compared the two with very similar stories, we were like, the documentary definitely is the one that we need to go with.
The thing that did make me cry both times with it is that ultimately Dylan comes to a realization that he needs to embrace his past selves. He needs to find a way. At some point, his father speaks about feeling hurt that when Dylan came out and began transitioning, he really wanted to Photoshop out his past. And this is about a journey of someone who finds a way to embrace his past selves without compromising who he is. And that just struck me as a universal thing. Who doesn't have things in their past that they're trying to reconcile with?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And again, that's the hallmark of a good film, and especially a good documentary. You think it's about one thing, and then this whole other element comes in that turns it around as well. And you're like, ooh, the 1-2 punch. I did not see that coming.
So come to the film festival and be punched. No, wait, no, that's no. We'll come up with a better slogan.
To workshop that a little bit.
Okay, no, that's fair. Any other films we should talk about?
Well, I would like to talk about Sunday features. So we have only one Sunday. I always mention that, this is kind of a small festival in some way. We have one theater generally that we work with. We do have another theater for the last night. And we don't show multiple films in multiple locations against each other. So always our choices are very intentional and argued over to the nth degree. So I really love the Sunday program, which we also got a kick out of because we're putting two films together. Our 4:00 film is called Dreams, and our 7:30 film is called Dreamers. See what we did there?
Oh, I get it.
But it's not going to be a sleepy Sunday. So Dreams is a really interesting film it's a student with a crush on the teacher, which harkens back to some of the earliest lesbian films in the canon. And the, discovery of the parents getting involved and being concerned about this. And it's part of a larger trilogy of films called, what is it, Shane? Dreams? What are the other two? Sex, Love, right. And if I wish I could remember the whole name of the trilogy, but I've forgotten it. So we've been wanting to have this film for a while, so we're really happy to have Dreams. And then the second film, Dreamers, is from the UK. Really interesting film about immigrants in a UK asylum and removal center who are both fighting against the system, but also finding connection and support within that system. And it sounds like a kind of harsh topic at first, but I found this film, again, another inspiring film, another film about the importance of community and connection. And it ended, and I had that kind of well of tears that you get at the end of a really good film. So I think Dreamers is great. And we also have some really good shorts showing with both of them. So I think the shorts are very strong that we show with Dreams and with Dreamers as well. So I think Sunday is going to be just a great day of viewing.
I've said that this is the year of the shorts because we have so many shorts programs that are in person, and we're really highlighting those this year because partly because OutFilm Connecticut and our festival has this year become a nominating festival for the Iris Prize, and the Iris Prize is the largest single prize that a short filmmaker can win in the LGBTQ space. So the winner of this prize gets 40,000 pounds or $55,000 to help them make their next film. And so they have festivals from around the world. And now starting this year, the Connecticut LGBTQ Film Festival is a nominating festival. Each festival nominates one film towards a collection of films that they all evaluate and pick an eventual winner. So they get 20 shorts from festivals around the world like us, and then they have 15 shorts that they add to the pool themselves, and then they pick from the 35. But in any case, because we are a nominating festival this year, we decided we would do for our centerpiece program, a special award-winning shorts program. And the trans community is well represented in that collection of shorts as well, because we have two of the, I don't know, 6 or 7 shorts in that program are trans themed. And but we have like this year's Oscar winning best short is part of the program. Another one, which was an Oscar nominated film, A Friend of Dorothy, is just an amazing short. And we have the winner of this year's BAFTA award, the British version of the Academy Award. We have the winner of the Australian Academy Award. There's one of the trans shorts is Whale 52, which won the Berlinale Crystal Bear, which is one of the big prizes at the Berlin Film Festival. And we actually have some past winners of Iris Prize, different awards that they have given out, including their Audience Award and their Youth Award winner with Love Lottie, which was terrific film. So I definitely encourage people to check out that program, and they will be able to see our own nominated short film for this year's upcoming Iris Prize contest.
Are we revealing that?
We are, yes. So our pick for the award is a film called After What Happened at the Library. And it's a very, topical film about drag queen story time and what happens when protesters come in and what happens to the people's psyches after something like that happens. And it's a very powerful film and something that we thought really needed to have a light shined on it.
Yeah, it very much goes much deeper than headlines. I think at this point everybody's heard stories about drag queen story hours and objections to them, and this really takes a look at the human cost of that kerfuffle.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my friends, I always love talking with you. Final words go to you both. Make a sales pitch. Let's get people in the seats and viewing at home.
I would say, our virtual encore this year is incredible. We actually are, for the first time ever, selling a virtual pass. So you can watch all of the content that's available, that's available online, which is probably, like 80% of what we're showing in the festival overall. You can see online for a mere $60. You can watch it at home. So I think Wendy was doing the math on how much.
I did. And my pitch is also about value. At a time when I found celery at the grocery store for $4.39, I would like to point out that our FestiPass, which gives you access, it's an all-access pass. It gives you access to all the theatrical shows, the parties, and all the streaming content, is still just $125. We haven't raised it in years, and that works out to $1.45 per movie. So try to find that price.
You can't get a cup of coffee for $1.45.
Exactly. And again, I say this every year, but it's true every year. The quality of the films we're showing is just getting better and better. So higher quality, same low price.
Remember to check out the bonus episode rerun of my conversation with Barney Frank. You'll find it behind this one in your feed. I also recommend episode 57 with political cartoonist Eric Orner, who wrote and drew the graphic novel Smat Guy, The Life and Times of Barney Frank. Middletown Pride, which marks the start of Pride Month here in Connecticut, is next weekend. Hope to see you there. Lastly, the book. 4 Arrows, my new novel, will be out by the time this episode drops. It's the first chapter in a series called The Heart of the Fire. When I try to describe it, I feel a little like Peter Falk in The Princess Bride, because 4 Arrows has a lot going on. It has elements of romance, fantasy, and queer history, with bits of religion and art history mixed in like Heath bar chunks in a DQ blizzard. The book looks at the redemptive power of love from both the birth family and the chosen family, and beneath it all there's a look at how history gets rewritten, erasing women and queer folks along the way. And if that sounds too heavy, well, hey, there's also a cat who speaks in Elvis Presley's voice, and there's a character who loves, I mean really loves, vulgar cursing, only she does it in Latin. As I say, there's a lot going on. I've been living with my protagonist, Carrie, in my heart and in my head for 3 years now, and I'm excited to share her with you. I'll put a link in the show notes to the various places the book is available, Kindle and paperback. Book sales really do depend on online reviews, so please help me out at Amazon, Goodreads, and the like. In the end, we serve the fire. The fire does not serve us. This has been Transqat. I'm Claire McCarthy. Thank you for listening, and let's talk soon.
This is Sadie McCarthy. I'm Claire's niece.
And you've just been listening to Transqat. It is made by one of my favorite people in the world, Claire McCarthy.
Transqat is a production of Transqat Enterprises, LLC.
Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
Join us on the web at transqat.com.
That's TRANSQAT.com.
QAT.com.
QAT.com. There you'll find links to Transqat, the blog,
writing projects,
speaking engagements,
and our PayPal donations page.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monkeys.
Monies.
Your monies.
Your monies.
Not monkeys.
Please consider supporting our mission with your monies. Any monkeys will be gratefully received as well.
Follow Transqat on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
On TikTok, we are at The Real Transqat.
Want to tell your story on air?
or ask Claire a question.
What is the deal?
She has all the answers.
Or suggest a guest or topic for an upcoming episode.
Use the contact page at the website
or email her directly at crmtranscat@gmail.com.
crmtranscat@gmail.com.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.